Another day, and now I wanna see. Set us free. Why can't you say? Can't you feel? Is it real?
There's a lot of people that never thought we were going to be the one that we're going to, like, after all those years, be one of the few only Brazilian bands to make out of Brazil that way. I mean, I think it surprised 90% of the Brazilian artists still does today. Talking the real big people still come to us sometimes and they don't understand. They go
like who? Like
Caetano Veloso and Gilberto Gil.
Oh really?
Big people, yeah.
They come to you and what do they say?
How'd you do it?
We know how it is to be in a band from a third world country, try to break it out, and they know that feeling. And for them to see a band like us break it out, it's like, it's important for Brazil.
They're up here and they're in the desert and they're starting their new families and their new lives and they're at a new level. Now they're looking back at their roots and where they're from and seeing what they're really about and, where all this stuff comes from. They're looking inside of themselves and at their history.
The whole thing about doing Dictatorship was because we grew up hearing all the stories about people being disappeared and being exiled. A lot of musicians and artists being tortured.
A lot of our fathers, friends,
yeah,
really, we have friends that their fathers just disappeared or some of them had to move out of the country because the stuff they were saying was against the,
There was this family
crazy.
from Chile moved to Brazil because Pinochet, because of the repression in Chile, they went to Brazil. So whole South America has always been really strong on the whole torture thing. And nobody would touch the subject. Nobody would even talk about it. And I was like, I think it's time for people like my age start asking the government some questions. Why did they do that? What's the reason behind all this? Why did you kill and torture all those people, I don't know, it's kind of like, I don't think it's never too late really to ask the question. Maybe nothing can be done about bringing the people back from the dead, but maybe we can teach our youngsters, maybe I can teach my son how bad it was, and maybe when he grow up, or the people in Brazil that grow up right now, that's 3 years old, when they're 15, they don't have to deal with the same problem again.
How old is your son?
3.
Oh, 3,
And I have another one that's 9 months. I saw the guy, what's his name?
Dick
Dale.
Yeah, I saw.
I went to see him in Phoenix, and he has his 5-year-old son with the drum kit through the whole show.
Is it so?
I thought that was great, yeah. I wish I could talk to him after the show just to tell him how great I thought that was. It was better than any other show I've seen just because of that. I think that just gives a lot of freedom for people to think like musicians are just freaks and drug users and useless people, that musicians are not, and artists are normal people that can raise a child just as good or better than a politician or a doctor, and you can take that kid on tour and stuff.
So whose kid is that?
That's Andreas. Andreas is a little girl. Yeah, it's Julia.
Assim manda te dar isso. Tá, ficou
Agora sim, sem bochechas, né? Olha lá, né? Soltou a chupeta. Eu vi a câmera. Dá sorrisos pros holandeses, dá? Mungus.
So where did you grow up?
You probably never heard of it.
Tell me anyway.
Belo Horizonte.
Where is that?
between São Paulo and Rio.
in Brazil.
Yeah, it's not in the coast. It's towards inside the country.
Sepultura, we started doing our own music, but it sounded a lot like bands that we were listening at the time, like Motorhead, Venom. Basically, a lot of bands outside Brazil. A few Brazilian bands that were really into it, but a lot of bands from outside. Some bands from Finland, especially like hardcore music, and some English bands like Discharge, and you know, some of the metal stuff we're really into too.
Yeah, not much of American influence.
No?
European.
Why?
It's harder. It was all harder, heavier, darker, colder. Years ago, I think bands like even the Beatles shock a lot of people. I heard stories of people really freaked out when Elvis danced, when he did that dance, como é que fala, rebolar?
Moving his hips.
Twisted,
and shit, yeah.
moving
Twisting with his hips,
yeah.
yeah.
I mean, like, people freaked out.
Yeah.
I was like, oh my God. It's funny now, it's like you look at so pathetic, you know, like, don't matter. Today we're talking about way beyond that.